Hello everyone, Krydax here, and welcome back to pYanodon's Season 3. I have done some of the train reworking, but we're going to do the rest on video here because I think we're going to do a couple interesting things that I don't want to leave you guys out of. So far, what I've been doing is just replacing power poles with neck-slit power poles, making sure that we have 6 loaders, making sure there's lamps. I did default my unloading station on the regular like paste to have 2 belts because I'm always requesting like 4 items at least, or more than 2, and so that's helpful. I added in a 7th tank to my fluid provider slash trasher because it fit without increasing the... Oh, no, it didn't. Wait, did I? Hold on, did I fool myself? I guess I've never put 2 of these in a row. I actually couldn't put 2 in a row because previously that would have lined up those tanks anyway. So it's still not a problem, I guess, if I do need it. Anyway, but we added a 7th. And we also changed... Didn't I change something else? Oh, yeah, I had a combinator here that was negating this signal, where it adds what the train has, takes away what the train is requesting, but then it negated it, and then these were only running if it was negative. But now it just does the opposite, or these were only running if it was positive. Now it only runs if it's negative, and we're just adding the negative to what the train has. So as soon as the train has enough, then the signal gets to 0, and these turn off. So it's the same thing, I just saved a whole combinator. No bad stuff about that. And then lamp. And then this is the normal requester. I'm calling it a bulk requester now in the book. And I deleted all those ones without the rails attached to them because I just never build those anymore. So it saved me a lot of space in the book. It'll be easier to scroll through. So the bulk, wait, what am I doing? Hold on. I need space for my bulk requester. We haven't made that yet. That's one of the things we're about to do. Oh yeah, we made the super trasher side not agnostic. Side agnostic would mean it could be either side, but I made one version for each now, so I can easily do that. And the super trasher has 2 belts by default. And we're about to make an upgrade to the super trasher, the regular one, which we'll talk about in a second. But first, what was I about to say? This is the regular provider. My brain keeps hearing the word provider and thinking it's a train providing the items to the base, but that's a requester. My brain keeps flipping that for some reason. I don't know why it keeps doing that, but yeah, so this right here is a requester. I don't know why my brain was looking at this and thinking, oh yeah, that's a provider. It's a requester, and this is what we're calling a just a regular requester, aka multi-requester. We'll have a special one called a bulk requester, but this is just your standard strong side request and weak side request. We're also taking the word extension out of everything because it's not really necessary, and it just gums up the visuals. So those are strong side and weak side requests. Nothing special going on there. Then there is the bulk provider, which is not a multi-provider. Therefore, it does not have an inactivity condition. These are made to only ever provide one thing, one item type. I did make the default size to be the 144 stacks because 72 stacks is not even 2 train loads for tier 2 trains. So in preparation for soon having bigger trains, we'll at least make it so they can carry a few of the tier 2 train loads. These are my bulk providers now. This was me starting to look at the multi-requester, but then I got distracted with what we're about to do, which is how do we handle locked slots? Because we ran into the big issue, I don't know if you guys remember the big issue, of we needed 2 locked slots when we're dealing with stuff like stone that only stacks to 50. The problem is, what if I'm not dealing with stone that stacks to 50? Well, then I don't need 2 locked slots, and now all of my deliveries are more inefficient because I have 2 locked slots when I don't need it. So I thought I could do something clever. We'll see if it works, and we'll see if I'm clever, but I think what we can do is we can do a selector Wait, we already have... This is even easier than I thought. You are already dead. We're already outputting the stack size of the input signals. So all I need is a single decider. Check this out. This is so elegant. I'm so happy with this. All we need is a single decider reading that output. And it says if anything, aka if the stack size of anything is equal to 50, then it will output one locked slot signal, which we will add into this one. That easy. That's all I need to do. And now that will be smart. If we have anything that stacks to 50, we'll add another locked slot onto the system and we won't have to worry about it. Now, I am ignoring the fact that there might be things that stack to less than 50. I should probably do less than or equal to. I'm slightly concerned that if something... less than or equal to... Yeah, I'm slightly concerned though, like what if... I mean, we would need a lot of locked slots though. Because the problem is if it's at, say, stack size of like 30, I don't think anything stacks to 30, but if it did, we'd need like 3 locked slots at that point, around that point. So it kind of only matters if it's exactly 50 if I'm doing it this way. If I wanted to add more combinators for other numbers, we could. But it's really only the range of like 40-ish to 60-ish that we need to add a locked slot. Is the math the same for T2 trains? Actually, no. Wait. Yeah. Actually, no. T2 trains should be more immune to this problem. T2 trains are immune to this problem until the stack size gets to, I would guess, around 25. Because I only have 3 loaders into each wagon, which will have its own locked slot. So there's only 3 loaders of stone for 1 whole locked slot, and we wouldn't need 2 locked slots. So this is a change that actually only matters until we have tier 2 trains, which makes me want to do it even less. Will red loaders change anything? It locks a slot per wagon. I'm 95% sure of that. It would be a bad design that only locks 1 slot of 1 wagon and not the other wagons. Given what lock slot is for, that would be a terrible design choice. So I'm quite certain it doesn't do that. So now the question is, do I just not do this at all? Thank you for bringing that to my attention, Drac, because tier 2 trains will be immune to this problem. But tier 3 trains won't be. Tier 3 trains will be back to having the same problem. So no, we should have it. We should keep it. Because it'll matter now for the next 20 to 50 hours until I get tier 2 trains. And then it'll matter again when we upgrade to tier 3 trains. And it will also matter for anything where I add even more loaders, which once we're at tier 2 trains might happen. I don't know. So for now, we will keep this in here. If anything has a stack size of 50, we add another locked slot. Okay. So that is the Super Trasher weak side. And then the Super Trasher strong side needs to have the same thing up here. Oh, we don't have room for it. I will just fit it in here. I think that's better than... I don't know. I think that's better than like putting it in a weird spot over here. And it was this red wire. We can just copy the thing. And then the output just gets added into the code. Did I forget a lamp? No, I haven't. Okay, so 1 locked slot by default. That adds locked slot anything is 50. And the anything would have to have been a stack size. I think we're good. I'm really trusting that this is going to work. I'm not testing it. So there you go. Okay, and someone said we could shift these down, which is completely accurate. That one doesn't shift. Never mind. But that is out of the way enough to move that one there. Does this really help me? How does this help me? It doesn't really change anything. Let's see. Let's do this. I mean, it slightly changes things. I guess that's better. Better to do that than not. I also don't think I mentioned this, but obviously I put attachments on both sides. I thought that, oh, I screwed up though. I forgot to attach 4 and 6 across. I just think I do enough with both sides with fluids that this will be better to have on average. And when I paste it, I can always easily delete the side I don't need if I only need one side. So there you go. Okay, so that's improved. Y'all are great. Twitch has helped with multiple improvements. Okay, so moving on to the next thing I was gonna do. Or no, I guess we're still working with the regular multi-providers. I do think with regular multi-providers, I'm gonna go to a double by default. And I think I'm just gonna go to a full, well, now here's the question, because I do still split things on lanes pretty commonly. So I guess we can still split something on a lane. So many things I'm thinking right now. Like we could have another belt come in and wrap around, and that handles me loading up to 8 item types on up to 2 belts from just one side without taking up extra space. So I could still fit it in here. So that's kind of nice. I actually like that, and I think that's what I want to do. Then I can always expand it if we have more item types, which actually means this is on the right spot. Yeah. We'll see if this is all correct, but I think this works. Call those up. They'll all have conditions. Do I want to parameterize this? We might as well. It takes 2 seconds to like fix. 1, 2, 3, 4 is how we should read it. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And by 4, we mean the 4th thing. And then this will filter. Do I filter left on 0 or filter right on 1? I don't know what the right choice is. Feels like splitting off the thing that you're filtering. Makes sense. So that'll filter right on 3. Okay. As far as the counts, I'll just leave them at 0 and I'll make the numbers myself. Shouldn't I default the numbers to something that makes sense though? Like 2000? And then I can change the numbers from there. That just makes more sense to me. Okay, and this is back to the 1 locked slot but we'll add the logic of if something is 50. Well, this one it's a little worse because now we have to add the selector combinator 2 to read the stack sizes. Do we want to add 2 combinators to this? Do we want to add 2 combinators? Not sure. There's enough things that only stack to 50. I probably should have this as a safety valve. And I don't want to have 2 locked slots on everything. So yeah, we'll do it. Selector. So those go in there. And we read green signal. And then we do stack size of the input signals. And then that, just for continuity, we'll use a red signal. If anything's 50, that outputs another locked slot signal that gets added onto that. Boom. All right. I could make them different numbers and parameterize that preschool, but is there a point? I'm not going to use those numbers very often. Then again, I don't really care if they're different. I want them to look cleaner though, so I'll do 2010, 2020, and 2030. That feels better. All right. And then does this paste properly in? It does. Wait, no, I very much screwed this up. Okay, so that fits in there. Can this be back a tile? Yeah, okay, so that goes there. But this can be forward 1 more tile. That way the next one fits in better. Yeah, okay, there we go. All right, so that's all good. And then we need power and power. I love Nextlit. Power poles. Power poles. Throw in a lamp and we're good to go. Beautiful. This is gonna make my life so much easier. These are all on use filters, set filters. Just want to guarantee that. And then we are negating this. Oh, that's why. I just copied this logic to the fluids because here it's setting the filters, which it only sets to positive values. Whereas on the fluids, we just are turning them on or off, which means we can relatively look if it's a negative value, which we couldn't do over here because we're setting filters. So that's why I had that combinator with fluids, but why we didn't need it. Got it. I now feel like I owe past Krydax a slight apology. Okay, so this is the strong side multi. Gets a nice facelift here. Pretty big changes, to be honest. Parameterization. These are all parameters. Now, I could just put it to default all of them to 20 stacks of those items. Also, it's really weird that that one's ordered that way. But is there really a reason to do that? They're already defaulted to 2000. Because if I do formula, then it won't let me type it in, though. Thank you. Yeah, you can't default it to a formula, but also have it let you type it in, I don't think. Right? If you do formula, it just does it for you, and you don't get to pick. which would defeat the whole purpose because I want to get to type in whatever I want. And this is basically, we can always change it once we have tier 2 trains. If we want, we can change this to defaulting to 4,000. But for now, this is fine. Okay, so there's the multi, and then we need the weak side version of that, which I'm going to manually produce. Wait, it's not asking for the numbers. Oh, because I didn't paste this version. There we go. Yeah. Ew, unnamed. Yeah, I don't mind parameter. I don't mind those being the names, but unnamed looks really ugly to me. So we will name that. We will name them parameter. I want it to look the same amount. There's, I don't know, maybe I'm weird, but I like them having names like that rather than like thing one. I for whatever reason, the computery look feels kind of clean to me. AMT is looking weird though. Let's go with count QTY. Number that. I could put the number in front. That actually somehow feels the best of the ones I've seen. All right. Yeah, that feels good. Okay, so then that gets pasted with no changes, and then we need to rework the belts to support coming from the other side. It'll look like this and this. Important to note that it still goes 1, 2, 3, 4 from top left. Also, does it make sense to go 1, 2, 3, 4 instead of 1, 2, 3, 4? It does make sense, but like we read left to right, but you're reading these two things vertically that are right next to each other. It's one of those things where like I could see people arguing about it online for a long time as far as which one's more right or less right. Okay, that's, I think, yeah, that's the best we can do there. This one goes to, is it there? Okay. All right, and that is a space of 3. Wait, no, I did something. No, that is correct. Okay. No, we don't want to be under 2,000 because then we don't have enough items to fill a train. That was the whole point of picking 2,000. I'm okay with having 21 stacks of everything. What I don't want is less than 21. In fact, this one, if anything, should be slightly higher because it's like, it'll be fine because if it's less than 2,000, aka 1999, it'll let one more item through and it'll be exactly 2,000. So it will work, but it feels like, I don't know, like, I just have enough for exactly one train load. Is that enough? But yes, it is enough is the answer. Okay, I think we're good on that. That is the weak side multi. New contents, parameterize. These are for parameters. Again, they've been ordered slightly differently for my pleasure. All right, parameter -0. Boom, boom, boom. I need to parameterize the naming of the parameters. Gosh, I had to type the same thing 4 times. Far be it from me. All right. So now we're on to the new thing, which is a bulk requester. So I talked about this in the last episode. What I want for the bulk requester is to scale with our train tier, which I have to decide if I'm going to use a global logistics group or a global radar signal. Logistics group allows me to change it manually. I can use it in other places, which I won't. It's not signal based, but it will be used as a signal from a constant combinator anyway. So I don't think that changes much. If radars lose power, they might stop transmitting their signal. But if I'm losing power, we have problems anyway. I guess the only thing I don't know is if you have a brownout, do radars stop sending their signals? And I don't really know how to test that easily. Let's try to test that somehow. Let's do an infinity chest filled with coal. Or no, let's do fiber so there's no... whatchamacallit, no ash. And then we need a boiler. I want some separate water. That'll be on its own little area. Okay, so water, loader. Okay, so there's power, steam turbine. Okay, so there's that. And now we need a bunch of radar to test this theory. I guess I need a lot of radars. Okay, so we're browned out. And the question is, does a browned out radar still get, or still send signals? On green here. Yes, it does. Okay, so we're fine. Yeah, I mean, the cost of the radar themselves, I wasn't even thinking about it, and I'm not worried about it. Negligible. Radars aren't even expensive, especially, I think the local radars are even cheaper, aren't they? Arguably, no. It's really weird. I mean, 5 circuits, is that worse than an engine unit? But they're not like way cheaper because of that, because those are 40 small parts and 5 aluminum. So either way, it's a bunch of small parts mostly and some wood. Not a big deal. I'll just use the local radar because I don't know. Logistics groups let you change it. Yeah, but I'm going to use a global signal for the radar, so I only have to change it in one place. Like, I'll have a master combinator that sends the train tier into a signal area. So for bulk requesters, let's start with the regular requester. UPS cost of radars, I'm pretty sure, is like 0 to negligible. And yeah, for local, it'll be even less. They did a huge improvement on like the scanning thing when they added radars to roboports for space age. They had an FFF about that because they added radars to roboports and now there were radars everywhere and that was starting to cause performance issues. So they fixed it like they do. They're so good at that. Okay, so what we want to do is we need a local radar. I guess the downside to a radar is it's bigger. That's the only thing I haven't listed. That's probably actually the biggest downside to this, is it takes 9 squares if we do the radar version. And it doesn't take 9 squares if I do the logistic group version. But it is just cooler. It is just cooler. So I'm going to do the radar. And if it's a bad idea, it's a bad idea. Whatever. I don't think it's a bad idea. think putting it here might be the best spot for it. Is that the best spot for it? Does that fit? It does fit into the 2 square if I need it to, so that's probably the right. And then that allows for an underground here. Does it allow for a belt up here if we need one? Like, does that reach? It does. Okay, that's the other thing I was curious about. And that does work. Okay, then that's probably fine. So then that's a good spot for it. So then what we need to do is we're going to set up the request threshold. Can't set that to 0. That's really obnoxious. Do I even need this? It's not doing anything. Oh, well, yeah, I'm going to type request into it. So yeah, I do need it. It's so annoying that it sets request threshold to 1. Why are you like this? Because now I'm going to have to subtract 1 somehow to cancel that out. Okay, so now we have to decide what is the signal I'm actually going to use for this. Because I am going to multiply whatever that magical train tier I used this one before. I'm just going to stick with that. That'll be our signal. Up, down arrow is the global train tier symbol. And that gets multiplied by 20 to set the stack amount. Wait, how am I gonna do this with parameterization? Oh, more multiplication. We'll be fine. And then that outputs request threshold. Done. Okay, so that one is the request threshold amount. What I'm thinking, because what all is this going to control? This is going to control the request threshold amount. It'll multiply by a parameterized constant combinator. Or it'll... Yeah, this isn't doing anything then. I still want it for the mask, because I can change the mask more easily that way. Hey, see you later, Mello. Enjoy. The signal logic is so much easier. That is very accurate. Okay, so we're gonna multiply. I guess I'm just deciding if I want this to already be multiplied by 20, and I think I do, because we're not gonna use the 1, 2, 4, 8 for anything. I don't think. We're gonna use 20, 40, 80, 160. So there's no reason to have the signal itself be multiplied by 20. So instead, that one can be a decider that outputs the input count of that as the request threshold. Easy. Okay. Then... Wait, no. Wait, that doesn't... What does that do? I've forgotten how input count works. I think I may have just used that incorrectly somewhere else. It's not the input count of what you're inputting, it's the input count of that signal. Yeah, that doesn't work. Ah, right. Okay, so we do need... Can't math in this, that is a constant. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's a way to do this. with a decider. Okay, so we're back to arithmetic. Should I just make the radar signal the request threshold signal? Is that crazy? Should I just use that signal? That feels like a bad idea. I kind of feels like that's actually how we should do it, but because this is literally all we're doing, is just changing the signal here. But that feels crazy to me. Let's not do that. Okay, so that will give us the request threshold. And then what we want to do is parameterize our requests. I still am mad I can't set that to 0. That means I'm going to have to add another constant combinator just to negate that 1. It's very annoying. Because then what we want to do is parameterize some requests that then get sent to here. I guess I could multiply this one through, but the request threshold is going to get caught up in that too, as well as the A values, which we don't want. So this has to be kind of normal. So I can't actually type my requests into this, except normal requests to get added on to the multiplied request, which is actually kind of what we want. So we're okay here. So yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to take the signal. We can't multiply by a negative. So like that's going to be 20, but we need to negate it. Let's make that red. So we want to multiply the red stuff by the green that, but we need that to be negative. So I guess since we already have this one anyway, we can make this times -1. Then the master signal will be sent out as -20. And then that gives us the correct request threshold, and it does the right multiplier to output certain items by the stack size. So if I parameterize this, then we can say we want, you know, it'll be like, oh, what do you want? And I'll be like, oh, I want iron plate. And then we put in iron plate, and it will auto-magically pick the number being, well, I guess it'd be 100. It would be the stack amount of iron. And then that gets multiplied by -20. Yeah. And then when I change the global, it's working. Change that to -40, and boom, now it wants 4,000 iron, which will match up with the 40 request threshold. And now all of my bulk requesters will update together from this one change. That is what we want. Beautiful, beautiful. Caveman to Cosmos in Civ 4. I did like Civ 4. So that's a win. Okay, so now what we need to do is nothing, right? Oh, we need to cancel out that stupid little request threshold -1. That's so annoying. Okay. That feels unnecessary. I mean, it should be unnecessary. I should be allowed to change that to 0. It's the game. And this isn't CyberSyn. This is the person who made CyberSyn Constant Combinator, which is not the same maker as CyberSyn. They're trying to protect me from myself, and I don't want to be protected. I know what I'm doing. So it is annoying. Is there any other changes I need to make to this? Anyone spotting anything bad or wrong? We'll be measuring the belt. Or the chest, that gets combined with the negative numbers. That's how it should be. I mean, I think we're okay. if this disappears or gets turned off, is anything bad gonna happen? No. Our requesters just will stop requesting. Not a problem. That's honestly fine. So, that's fine. So like failure to send signal does not create a problem. That's a good thing to check off the list. Okay, so then let's just parameterize, I don't know, for a bulk requester. Definitely gonna go that big. Definitely gonna have not split filters per lane most of the time. And I'll probably go ahead and put 2 belts here. Like so. Okay, and that tiles nicely. Yeah, I think that's good. And let's set it up for... Okay, so here's the problem. This chest is only 144 slots. Eventually, I will have trains that can carry 160 stacks. This cannot fit 160 stacks. So even if I only requested 1 item, I'd need this. And now we have 168. That means I can only handle 1 item type from a bulk requester unless I make the chest bigger. And that only gives me 8 buffer slots for when the request threshold becomes 168. Probably not enough if I'm bulk requesting in the first place. Those trains will be very fast, so I'm not going to need as much of a buffer as you might think, because they'll go load and come unload so fast. And yeah, I might be using logistics warehouses, yada yada. So maybe we do something like this. 192, that gives me a 32 stack buffer. The chest goes empty before it requests the next train. No, because the threshold would be 160. So that would still be fine. We'd have 32 stacks of a buffer as soon as it requests the train, and then as long as the train gets here before we've used up those 32 stacks, we're fine. But again, it's like, yeah, it needs to have 160 empty slots. Exactly. 192 minus 160 is 32. I'm either missing what you're saying or you're missing. One of us is missing something. Anyway, I'm just deciding, is 32 enough? Like you said, there's logistics warehouses in the future. I don't know when tier 4 trains unlock versus logistics warehouses. So yeah, Clown, that's exactly what I'm talking about though. Tier 4 trains are zooming. So once I have tier 4 trains, because tier 4 trains, I did a little bit of research. They utilize a fuel that is stupid fast and stupid acceleration fast. 350% acceleration, 250% top speed. These trains honk because they already have a top speed of 367 before those bonuses. So it's kind of nuts. And then they're super light, so they go even faster for that reason. So yeah, they're pretty crazy. I don't know about tier 3 trains. Do those have a boost? Next lit battery. Yeah, those have a boost as well. Tier 2 locos are the odd duck. I don't think rocket fuel exists. Oh, it does. Oh. Not until Pi 3, but we will get rocket fuel. Okay. Which gives us better vehicle fuel. And then, does nuclear fuel exist? Yes. if we really wanted it to, but by that time we'll probably have tier 3 trains. I doubt this will be useful for trains. You never know. Anyway, I'm just kind of deciding, like, is 32 stacks enough? Because the bigger these go, the more we're just wasting space for, like, most of the game. And 32 stacks, though. $32 stacks. How much is that? Like, if I'm using, for example, two blue belts, that's 90 a second. 90 a second, that's gonna run through 32 stacks in about 40 seconds. Yeah, that's not enough. I'll add one more. Put it back here. I'll add 2 more because then it's balanced. All right, final answer, 240. Okay, so that's good to go. And of course, if I need more, I will often need more than, you know, one unloader. I can add more. Should I add more by default? That's only 30 a second. It'll be 60 a second soon when I have red belts. A tricky question. If it's a bulk requester, is 2 belts enough by default? Or should I make it like 4? I'm honestly not sure. I think I can make it 4. If I scooch these. Oh, you can't scoot. Oh, can't scoot cybernetic combinators. Oh, not quite. We're making this work. We're figuring it out. Okay, so that's there. That goes there. The lamp can go anywhere. This can go anywhere. That one just has to cancel out that one. Okay, so then that allows for this. Rat. That doesn't reach across the radar. It will with red belts. It will with red belts. But, hear me out. It will right now. Haha! Alright. That's some chaos, but it was useful chaos. Okay, and then these can go here. And then 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that all works. Alright. That is beautimous. So then finally we need the unloading of these guys, which... There we go. Okay, so now the final thing we need to do is some to answer your question, John. We need to do parameterization on this constant combinator. This ended up being pretty condensed. Everything's got power. Good to go. All right, so parameterization here. We are defaulting to 1 item. I'm allowed to add a second item if I make the chest bigger. That's how that works. Got it? Got it. All right. What am I looking for? Parameter. Here. Parameter 0. Parameter 1. I'm just going to make this a number that's random. So 22. 33. All right. And then when we make the... I shouldn't have a second item added in by default. Now we make the blueprint. What's the train stop name? Request, that's fine. Parameterize. Now we go 22 as a parameter, and the formula is pin_s. And I think that's it. Oh, P1, P0. There we go. I think that's good. Bulk request. So then you paste this bad boy and you say, I want copper plate, because it's something that uses 40 copper plates a second. And now you have a request that is going to multiply 100, which is the stack size of copper, times -20. It'll request exactly 1. I guess what it's not doing... Oh, right. We have the buffer. It's not adding the buffer. Right. And so the way we solve that is with a request in this one. So we have 2 parameters. So parameter 1 is the base amount, but then parameter 2 is the buffer amount. And I don't think I've talked through that yet, so for those of you that were wondering about that exact question, I had already thought this through, but I apologize if you were like, he hasn't thought about that. I just forgot until we got here to talk about it. So that is going to be some number, call it 55, that will change to being however many buffer stacks we want. Now I have to decide, like, what do I have the player, aka me, what do I have them plug in for... I have them plug in, because wait, where'd my 22 go? Oh no, now it's all jacked up. That's not the right thing. Okay, bulk request. That's literally the wrong station. One with the radar. Okay, so the 22 is the parameter, and that's also the parameter, and they're both formulas based on 0. This is my bulk request, and this is the buffer amount. Do I use a variable, or do I just let the player type in -2000? Or do I want the player to type in 20 for a buffer of 20 stacks, which then gets formulaed? I'm not really sure what we should do. Because in other places, in all my other blueprints, I don't have it doing math for the player. So I actually think preschool, I'm on the opposite end of where I'm leaning. Because my muscle memory works in, and I've plugged in manually 1,000,000 requests, right? And I'm always plugging in, I guess I'm plugging in negative stack amounts most of the time. Interesting. Yeah, I need to like probably look at the whole thing and make them all consistent, because I think When I plug in stuff manually, I'm doing negative stack counts. When I'm plugging in stuff for the parameterized fluids, it's just the fluid count. When I'm plugging in stuff for... Well, when else do I plug in stuff? Yeah, I probably should just buffer stack amount. And that'll be X. And then I want to multiply X times P0S times -1. I think? Is that right? Am I doing that right? So if I put 20, no, I want to put -20 because that's what I'm typing into combinators normally. So if I type -20, it'll take that -20, multiply by the stack size. Done. That's what cybernetic combinators are doing. I can put negative there as a reminder, but I'm scared that that's going to make the window really weirdly shaped to fit all those letters in. I did something wrong because it didn't even ask me. Where the heck are plates anyway? Coal processing? Yeah, I did something wrong. Uh-oh. Why didn't this work? Did I hit save? Is that true? No, that's not the problem. Yeah, it's not asking me. Why is it not asking me? Where did it go? Because so I need to make a dummy parameter, I think, to allow the player to plug in X, but that ends up doing nothing? That's so annoying. You should just allow the player to enter a dummy variable. Because yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna have to do. And then I can use X like this for this formula, but you can't can't ask the player to enter an X and then use that X to set this number, apparently. So I need to add a dummy variable. Where would I add that? It can be whatever. It could be in here. Put it on this end. Make it some weird symbol that's never actually going to get requested. Low battery signal. There's so many bits of this that are janky, and Galdoc and I talked about a few of them, and there are some that, despite not working the way they quote-unquote should, and they feel bad the way they're implemented, the alternatives, when you start to dig into them, aren't really better. Like, it's hard, it gets pretty wishy-washy, so it's not as bad as it seems. The final result is as bad as it seems. It's pretty janky, but there aren't a lot of amazing ways to fix it, is more the point I'm trying to make. As much, like, upon first glance, it feels like there's stuff that would easily fix, what you're doing and make it better, but then when you really dig into it, it starts to fall apart a little bit. I'm not saying there are no fixes either. I'm just adding a little bit of a point. Oh, that's not a parameter. The 99 is the parameter, and that is the X. And that is the buffer stack amount negative. That goes up here. And that isn't a variable, but it uses the formula with the variable. And then that 22 just changes into the stack size of P0. Okay. I think we got there. There it is. Okay, I need to change 99 to what I want it to be by default, which is going to be negative 20. So we'll default to 20 stacks over a full train. Then we will finally be done with this. It took longer than I thought it would, to be honest. This is one of my main complaints about parameterization, is the stupid defaulting, not being able to change what a number defaults to. It's really frustrating to me because there are so many times that I want, like, you can't have multiple numbers default to the same 0 baseline number, for example, or any other number of ways that you'd want to change the default of a parameterized thing. You just can't do it. All right, I think that's finally it. Boom. And then our bulk request would be something like gas furnaces. And now it's requesting, hopefully, 1,000 gas furnaces, which, given they stack to 50, is that what we expect? 20 stack? Yeah, it is. No, should be requesting 40. Oh, because we don't have the signal. Actually, the global radar signal is not there. So once we add that in, which is negative 20, then the request should be 2,000. And it's not. Or, yeah, it is. We good. Okay. Cool. So now we need to add arrows times 1,000,000. Remove those. Save. And then now we need to do a version with flipped belts. Which is going to be messier. Definitely going to be messier. So, how do we do this? I may have to move the radar. No, we might be okay. Radar could go down into the left. It should fit just fine down there. I can go left, down, left. And that should leave enough space, I think. Yeah, okay, and that still fits there. This guy fits here. All right. No, one more. Okay. And then that reaches, good to go. And then these guys need to turn around. Oh, that's the train stop. LOL. All right, try again, over there, and right there. And then flip. And then that should power everything up. And the radar's still powered. Everything else is the same. And we can connect. Wow, this... I'm kind of... Oh, no. Alright, this is fixable. Maybe. I think the way we fix this is by moving these. Yeah, I might be able to fit the radar over here. No, because that couldn't go under. And this gets taken up by other train tracks. I don't know if we could. But here's more what I'm thinking, is save a lot of belt squares by doing that. And now we have... that's already it. We're done. We just need a power pole. Yeah, okay, that's way better. This can... It probably needs to stay that way. Not the cleanest look. Yeah, the Cybersyn Combinator doesn't look like it's close enough, but it is. It affects the 4 or the 8, how many tiles that is, around it. And as long as one of those tiles is touching the 4 tile, one of the 4 tiles of the train stop. So it could actually be here and it would still touch it. So that's fine. Okay, so I think we're good now. Yeesh. Three, 1, 2, 3. Wait, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Yeah. Okay. Woo. All right. Bulk request done. Make a copy of this. Put it there. Weak side bulk request. I know that this has taken a whole episode, but I think it's really worth it because this is going to save us a lot of time when we're doing builds. We'll be able to have more parameterized stuff ready to go. And if I don't care about the parameterized bits, I can just, you know, hit OK and it'll skip past it. So that works out nicely. Okay, so then does it remember everything? It does. Okay, so bulk requests are done. So we'll go request, provide, bulk provide. I feel like that's at least consistent. Weirdly, the multi is the normal kind of provider now. So that looks like this. And I'm giving up on regular provider. Well, bulk providers are regular providers, is what we used to call those. Okay, and now trash. Do I just use the super trasher always from now? Do I just delete these? I can always make the chest smaller on the super trasher. Just delete half of it and call it a day. Yeah. We're cleaning a house. F trasher I will keep because right now the only alternative to that is this one, which is a lot bigger. So if I definitely only need one fluid to trash, that's still my thing. FR fungible. FP fungible. Is the bulk request radar signal going to be broadcast from some amazing ceremonial location? Yes, yes it is. I don't know what we're gonna do yet, but it's gonna be great. Okay, how do I want to change this? We also need to add a version, which we already did for the requester. So I think we're good on providers because the fluid super trasher can just provide 7 fluids if we want it to. There's no need, it doesn't have to be a trasher as well. So first of all, I think I want to shift everything over and have the fluids all together. Second, this is still great if we only need to provide a couple fluids. Then this is great if we want to provide more fluids. But this has super trasher at the beginning, so I feel like we should have super trasher at the front. Then we've got the provider. The requester is the one we need to expand on. The single trasher, I think, is fine. Fluid fueling request, I definitely still use the way that it is. And if I need faster fluid requests, I can just have multiples of these, because until I have better trains, there's not much else I can change here. The only thing I can change here is add one more buffer. Like add a third tank. Because the fluid could be different with every delivery. So I would need 3 tanks if I want up to 3 deliveries to show up. And I could make it so that if the second tank is empty, it sends another request. Is that... Can I make it do that? I guess I could. I don't know. I'm not going to mess with that right now. So I guess the last thing we're going to do then... I don't use FR and FP fungible very often. In fact, I've more often just been modifying my normal provide and request. Especially as steam becomes cheaper. It's really FP fungible to provide fluid fuel. It's like the only place I'm really using this. These two go together. That's mainly for fluid fuel. Because I'm not really doing steam. I guess regular steam I'm still putting on trains. But even then, like I said, power's getting cheaper, which means steam is getting cheaper, which means moving it around on trains is getting less efficient. So unless something is making an absurd amount of steam, it's like, what's the point? Why put it on trains? Why waste it? And FR fungible isn't really used anywhere, right? Unless I was requesting cold steam or fluid fuel, but fluid fueling is its own thing. So cold steam is currently the only thing I'm doing with this. I should probably keep the blueprint just in case, but I'm not really ever using it. So that leaves us with one more thing needed, which is... By the way, how's my base? Whoa, we already finished some research. We're on to nuclear research. What did we finish? We researched red belts and maybe intermetallics too? I don't remember if that was done. Okay, so it's like coming up for air after being underground. I was gonna utilize... Where did we build it? Right here. Basically, we just want to utilize this. And maybe make it snappier somehow. So... This is the F requester, basically. A new version of that. And this could handle the new train wagons if we wanted it to, but I don't think there's a point to that. So the question is, how do we want to arrange a big set of tanks for this? Also, these need to be parameterized. Because those 3 fit in nicely the way they are. I don't really want to... add them all in the middle. Because then I can't fit another train station here. There's no more space with that. So it all has to be on the weak side or the strong side. I guess I could have a version for each. And then the question becomes, how many tanks do I set this up for? Because I can always add more. I can add as many as I want. Do I set it up for 4, aka 7? 7's kind of a magic number. Maybe I just go with 7. And then I have these staggered. Do I like that? Do I not like that? If I don't want them to be staggered, I have to space them out the other way by 1. Which way is better? What do you guys think? Which way is better? Staggered is probably better. So that's 4 tiles. Well, I guess it would be 3 tiles that it would add that way. And it only adds 1 tile that way. So 3 shorter, but 1 wider is better. Hard to imagine ever needing more than 7. Well, we've definitely gotten there. It's when we have multiple production lines in the same block and we're just using the same requester. And they're all for pretty small amounts of fluids. So it definitely happens. I think what I don't like about this is how the fluid comes out the back. I want to make a shift here. I have an idea. I'm gonna have this go like that, and then we can connect through. Because that's the other question, is like, am I gonna want to put the tanks on the weak side while I build all my stuff on the strong side? Which means I would actually want to pre-build the connection through to the other side. And then these aren't taking up space for whatever the production line is here. So there's all sorts of options, right? It's like you can put them on the weak side or the strong side, and then you put the other stuff on the weak side or strong side, and that's 4 options, and I don't want to make 4 blueprints. What do we do? I think we set it up the way that it is, but then we also route the connections through, like with the Super Trasher, where it has the numbers. So I think what we want to do is a similar idea to this. And good luck with the numbers, because they're definitely not right to start. So we're just gonna have to set filters on these. So I guess we want it to be 1. Just go left to right, 1, 2, 3. And then 4, 5, 6, 7. Four, 5, 6, 7. Okay, that's easy. And then from there, number 1 is this one. That's 1. 2 is this one. That's already correct. 3 is this one, which doesn't have an attachment. Can I make it on this one? Not easily. It would be easier to put 3 on this one. And then we get into issues with 4, 5, 6, 7. So I don't know, we're clear here, 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 here. So let's do it that way. So let's do 1, 2, 3. I can do 4, 5, 6, 7 on the bottom. Oh no, the memes, the memes! I just said the blasted words. Oh my goodness. Those can go there. Okay, so 6 and 7 attach. Oh my gosh, that one actually is in the right spot already. That's kind of insane, to be honest. And then this one needs to go up and over right there, which it can't do. Is it reasonable to use bots and canisters? I mean, for really small amounts of fluids, yeah. I wouldn't, though, generally. Unless I know the source and destination are close together, then I care a little bit less. Okay, so that's 6 and 7, and then we need 4 and 5. So 4... Oh, we also have to think about other train stations with all of that. Yeah, so train stations are going to be in the way here. For 4 and 5. I might be able to fit 4 and 5 down underneath. Let's try that. And I can switch maybe the order of 4, 5, and 6, 7 because there's 2 there. We can fit there. Yeah, this can work. I'm pretty sure. So we just need to change the order. So then this guy goes to the bottom one. This one is actually that one. And then these 2 are now up here. That's where it gets tricky, I guess. So we can do this, 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 this. Perfect. Okay, so then that puts 7 down here. I think it does it in the correct order. Like this. But let's double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm fine with that. Okay, so 7 is connected to 7. 6 is connected to 6, 5, 4, 1, 2, 3. Perfect. I mean, is it gonna bother people now if I just don't switch it to 3, 2, 1? I feel like it's gonna bother me now. Just feels cleaner to switch it now. Sweet. All right. So 3 is here, which means this changes to 2. 2 is here, which it already was. And then 1. It almost feels like we should make it there so it all lines up perfectly, because that's way more satisfying. Okay, that was a lot of hubbub, but I think we're good now, except this is 1, which is that. Okay, perfect. Ta-da! Nonsense, I tell ya. All right, so that is F requester, not extension. We don't use that dirty word anymore. And then okay, copy. This is called F requester many. I don't know what to call it. And then we... Oh, F requester strong side, I guess we can call it. Strong side, weak side, Pionic Shambles. I guess I haven't talked about that in a while. If you don't know, it's just where we're providing the materials to in regards to our blocks, because when we paste our rail stations into the block, one side has a lot more room, one side has only a little bit of room. So this is the weak side, this is the strong side. And, you know, get the Remember the Titans reference in there for good measure. So this is the strong side. I also need to put the requests in. 6. And then the amount, I'll default to 35K. Gives me a 10,000 buffer. I do need to parameterize that if I want to change any of them last minute. But yeah, should do it. So now this is F requester strong side, select new contents. It's this, parameterize. All the numbers are wrong. Right. They all need to be different numbers because that's how parameterizing works. Because it's janky. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a great question. So preschool, I think you're right. I need it. I was initially planning on having 1 through 7 on both sides for both versions. But now I'm leaning towards we have them available on the opposite side from where the tanks are, and that's the only version. Because that leaves room to add more tanks if I want them quite easily. This line. Ooh, that was a weird glitch. So you're right. We should fix all of these open connections. I actually think we want it that way. Okay, so that fixes those 4. Probably should just hit the button. Wait, where's the button? That button. Then we've got this one. And these 2. And finally, this doesn't have any going to the right, and neither does this one. So I think that's it. Yeah. Okay. So we are now strong sided. F requester strong side, new contents, bada bing, bada boom, parameterize. Yes. Threshold. I don't really care, actually, if that's a parameter. It's almost always going to be the same. R7. This is number R1. Number 2, 3, 4. 6, 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Cool. Okay, let's try it out. It's a tall order, but it does what we want it to do. Sweet. And then we just need to make the reverse, which is annoying because it's not going to let me reverse it. Very annoying. Start with copying this. Then I'm going to take this and flip it. I actually have to change it into these exclusively, and then it should let me flip it. Oh, thank God. Okay, so then that goes. How do I even measure this? I don't even know. Where does this connect? The bottom corner connects with the bottom one on the left, which is that one. Okay, so it's like that, but how many squares away from the trains is it? 0, in fact. The the frontmost thing is exactly as close as you can get. So it's like this. Right here. Okay. So that's that. These are flipped going on this side of the tracks. And let's see how it actually lines up. 7 is 7, 6 is 6, 5 is 5, 4 is 4, but 3, 2, and 1 are probably jacked up. It needs to lose that, that, and that. That needs to flip around. It is 1. 2 is correct. No. No, it's not. Is that wrong here? No. No, we're okay over there. The issue is that this is supposed to connect to the main line, which is here. So we need to add a mainline connection. I'll ignore that for now. Okay, we got this. We got this. Focus. 1, 2 is not connected. So 2 is this one, which could be right here. Works fine. And then 3, unfortunately, can't go over itself. So we have a little bit of an issue with 3. Which really means this needs to be 3. I don't love because it changes the order based on which one we're using. But that one can easily be 3 without any problems. And then this one is the one that goes up and over and is number 1. And then number 2 comes from there. No, I just had that problem. Had it right before. That's number 2. Okay. I think that's right. 1. Yeah. I also just realized we didn't do the proper power poles. For the other one. Okay, so then these are all hooked up, and we just need a mainline connection, which can be where exactly? Wait, that one doesn't go anywhere. Hold on. Okay, now it does. But now we still need a mainline connection through this area to pump the other 4 full. Unfortunately, it goes right there, which requires a piece of technology we have not built before. I'm a bit concerned about using up another tile. Yeah, we literally can't go up one more tile. That is crazy. Okay, so we're gonna have to figure out a slightly different method here, which is what? Probably related to this one? No. Maybe. This is tricky. I mean, literally everyone is used, and this one, oh, I'm just being dumb. I can just like do this or something. All right, does that pose any issues? Ha! It actually does. That's hilarious. Why don't I go a few spaces to the left though? Does that pose issues? Nope. And then it avoids it for the next one. Okay. Easy enough. And then we're gonna need power poles connected, and we need the green wire connected. Wow. More work than I thought it would be, but we've got a lot of benefit coming down the line for doing this. So I'm very proud of us for doing the hard work. This is the Zen Garden experience, right? Like, this isn't what you always want to do. I find this fun, but it's not like quite as exciting as making progress for me. And as far as power poles, we need to redo this one. The old nexolets. And the wiring is correct, right? Everything lights up when I mouse over it. And with this one, everything lights up when I mouse over it. I think that does it. Chance that I connected some pipe incorrectly is quite high. That one's actually wrong. So I'm guessing I'll be fixing something with this before too long. But for now, it's good to go. Requester strong side over here, save. Let me just double check this. That's good to go. And then we make a copy here, weak side, save new contents over here. Parameterization should be good to go still. Save. We did it! Woo! Oh man, hour and 37 minutes. What an episode. Thanks for sticking with it, guys. The train redesign is complete. I don't think there's anything else we needed to do. Yeah, we're good to go. Everything's ready with Nexolet power poles, better belts. Once I have red belts automated and like well supplied, I might revamp these as well. And red loaders. I need the new loaders, which are cheap, not cheap. Medium. 4 fast inserters is not cheap. So I might actually, I wonder if Upgrade Planner works properly with fast loaders. I hope it does. Assuming it does, then I will probably just upgrade Planner to red belts when needed, rather than having the default be red belts, at least for a long time. Eventually, red belts will be cheap enough where I won't care. But for now, red belts are not cheap enough, and I do care. And why are you stuck? Usually because I'm not measuring something properly. So this needs to have inactivity to be allowed to provide the wrong thing, or it needs to have no loading manifest. And it needs to have no loading manifest, I think. Why did I think I could do this? Because yeah, the train knows that it has the wrong item. So that's why FP fungible and FR fungible were their own things. That's why we didn't have other resources there, is because the train knows what it came for. And you have to set up a system that tells the train, hey, leave anyway. Which would be inactivity condition, which would require filtering the thingies, which we are not doing. Yeah, we don't have this set up properly for that. We need a combinator and everything. Okay, I'm just gonna say screw the cold steam idea, I think. I'll send you away because it is cold steam, regardless of what the train thinks it is. And then I will, I don't know, just delete that. Whatever. All right, well, we're gonna have to call it an episode there. In the next one, we're gonna be working on probably red belts, actually. We're out of tin still. Oh no. Oh, what? Wait, I'm out of hot air? Oh no, that's a new one. That's a new one. Yeah, something broke. We'll figure it out. But I want to know right now, what happened? How is this not working? Wait, we're not out of hot air. What is going on? Are we importing hot air too slowly? Oh, I totally forgot. This is not you. Oh my goodness. Alright, alright. Yes, yes, yes. Screw that. Go away. You can disappear, please. We were not using the base's hot air supply. We were using the hot air supply from just our little graphite production, because we did the math and the math was enough and it worked, but then that caused us to, when we added more graphite, stop producing hot air locally, which meant we stopped getting the hot air that we needed for the tin, and tin broke again. And that's what we'll be dealing with in future episodes. As always, for those of you on YouTube, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you all in the next one.